Hello everyone, and thank you for being here today. Today I'm going to present Unit 2, titled Body and Mind. This unit focuses on how physical activity, emotions, and reading skill connect to how we understand and take care of ourselves. So here's a quick overview of what we will cover. Vocabulary related to sports and feelings. Grammar with ed and ing adjectives. Some skills that help you develop your reading skills. And finally, exam practice with a focus on short answer questions. Let's begin with vocabulary part. This unit helps us understand how we talk about both sport and feelings, which are closely related to our physical and mental well-being. Let's get started. We look at some common sport equipment and match them with their names: bat, racket, board, or club. So each of these is used in different sports, and understanding them helps us describe various activities more accurately. For example, a racket is used in tennis or badminton, while a bat is used in cricket or baseball. So what about a club? It is used in golf, and a board is used in skateboarding. These are the tools we associate with different sports. So, now it's time for you to think of other sports using boards. So how many sports can you find? Let's check together. There are more than you might expect. Some examples include skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, paddleboarding, windsurfing, bodyboarding, longboarding, and kiteboarding. These sports require combinations of balance, strength, and focus. So perfect examples of how our body and mind work together. And as you can see, board sports are popular and often adventurous. Next, we practice recognizing sport from the definitions. So you should pause the video for 1 minute to do these activities. So now, let's check the answer. A game where players use club to hit a ball on a grassy field. So that's golf. A sport where players hit a shuttlecock with a racket over a net. That's badminton. A water sport where a person uses a board with a sail. That's windsurfing. And an outdoor game played between two teams in which players try to score points, called runs, by hitting a ball with a wooden bat. That's cricket. So how many correct answers have you got? Matching these definitions helps us expand our vocabulary with real-world examples. These activities also improve our reading comprehensions and word recognitions. Moving on, we focus on vocabulary related to feelings and emotions. Here, we separate positive and negative feelings. Some positive ones might be amused or relaxed, while negative ones include depressed or annoyed. Knowing how to express feelings accurately is very useful. Now, you will have 1 minute to group the words into the correct categories. So pause the video and do the task. Here is a list of the words that we can divide into two different groups: positive and negative feelings. In positive one, we have amazed, amused, calm, confident, curious, delighted, excited, glad, happy, relaxed, and wonderful. While in the negative feelings, we can use some adjectives like afraid, angry, annoyed, anxious, ashamed, bored, depressed, disappointed, embarrassed, frightened, guilty, or jealous. And there is also an important grammar point, the words ending in ed, which describe feelings, while the adjective ending ing will describe causes of those feelings. For example, I am bored means how I feel, while this book is boring means the book causes that feeling. This exercise helps us express emotions more accurately. So, to make the concept clearer, we completed sentences with the correct adjective forms ed or ing. So we now have a list of the adjectives in the box and the uncompleted sentences from number 1 to number 8. Now, pause the video for 1 minute to do the task. Because we can use different adjectives to make sentences true for you, so we do not have an only correct answer. Here, I just want to give you some examples which are true for me. So the first sentence, in the evening, I feel more tired than in the morning. Number 2, I usually find black and white films amused. Number 3, I have never found any of my exam results embarrassing. Number 4, classical music makes me feel relaxed. Number 5, there are still a lot of poor people in the world, which is depressing. Number 6, I don't have any amusing hobbies. Number 7, I think animals are exciting. Number 8, I don't get easily frightened. These habits describe emotions and experiences more naturally. So now you can choose the adjectives that are true to you to complete the sentences. These activities show you how emotions connect with your daily experiences. To summarize, this vocabulary session taught us two key things: how to talk about sport equipment and activities, and the second part, that is how to describe emotions and feelings using ed and ing adjectives. These are useful for reading comprehensions, everyday communications, and even exam success. And now we move on to part 2, skill development. Let's begin with what we will be covering. In this session, we will go through the rules and strategies for short answer questions. We'll also look at examples, practice some together, and identify common mistakes to avoid. To start off, let's understand what short answer questions actually require. This question tests our ability to find specific fact in a passage. You'll often be told how many words you can use. This could be something like no more than 3 words. It's very important to follow this instruction exactly. Also, remember that a number can be written as a word or as a digit. For example, 4 in word or 4 in digit, and it still counts as one word. A hyphenated word like mother-in-law also counts as one word. And one last point, don't use constructions like don't or isn't in your answer. How do we go about answering these questions effectively? Here are a few basic steps. First, always read the questions before the passage. This will help you know what to look for. Next, underline the keywords in the questions. And then, scan the text quickly, moving your eyes down the page to find relevant information without reading every single word. And finally, once you locate the right sections of the passage, read it more carefully to find the exact answer. Now, let's look at 3 key tips for answering short answer questions. First, always read the question before the text. This might seem simple, but it's very important. If you read the question first, your brain knows what to look for, and it gives you a clear purpose while reading. Without this step, it's like walking into the maze without knowing where the exit is. Second, identify the key words in the questions. There are the most important words that tell you what information to find. For example, if the question is, what time does the event start? The key words are time and event. So you can underline or circle these to help you stay focused. Third, use scanning to find specific detail quickly. That means you don't need to read every single word in the text. Instead, you move your eyes quickly to look for the specific information related to those keywords. It's much faster than reading everything in detail, and it's very useful in time tests. These steps will save time and improve your accuracy. So let's try them in practice next. Here's a real example for an IELTS exam. This instruction is to use no more than 4 words. We'll look at students' answers and see if they can be made shorter. There is one example which has been done for you. So now, pause the video for 1 minute to do this task. Now, let's look at how to shorten answers in an IELTS reading task that asks for no more than 4 words. As we can see, the middle column shows students' original answers, which are often too long. The last column shows better versions. So for the question 1, we shorten it to his possible health problems. And for the question 2, the answer is simply during pregnancy. So what about question 3? It will become he needs medications. And for the last questions, question 4, no change necessary. The examples show that to succeed, you must identify the key idea and express it in 4 words or fewer. Now, here's a practice task. Answer these questions using no more than 3 words. Here we have 4 questions. The first is, what is the best way to lose weight? How do you feel about football? What do you enjoy in your free time? And why is exercise important? These are personal opinion questions, but in an exam, they could come from a reading passage. So pause the video and practice answering directly and briefly. Next, let's think about strategies. Look at the list of reading activities, and we have to find out 2 of them which are not helpful when answering short answer questions. So, the best strategies are: read the questions slowly before reading the text, and underline keywords in the questions. And we should use scanning to find the answers quickly. That means reading the text before reading the questions might seem like a good idea, but actually it wastes time. Also, underlining the keywords in the text is not useful because you may not know which ones are needed to answer the questions. Now, A very useful habit is underlining keywords in the questions. Let's look at these three questions. Why do some people accept pain as a part of life? What did Blackster want to find out? And what does the text say about how older people define health? So by identifying words like the keywords in each question, we know exactly what information to look for when scanning the passage. So now, pause the video and then try your best to underline the keywords in these three questions. Okay, so here are some keywords that we can find out in the question number 1 to number 3. So as you can see, we should focus on the WH questions like why or what, or some subjects like the people, Blackster, or the text, and also some main verb like accept, want to find out, say, or define. So now, let's put it all together. Read the short passage and answer the three questions using no more than 3 words. Let's check the answers and locate the information in the text. So for the first questions, why do some people accept pain? So the answer is they are older. Which we can see from the phrase here, like older people tend to accept as normal a range of pains. What about the second questions? What did Plaster want to find out? So the answer will be health definitions. Basing on the information in the phrase, in Plaster's 1990 National Surveys of Health Definitions. Yes, and for the last questions, how do older people define health? The answer is ability to cope, because it is mentioned in the phrase be defined more in terms of being able to cope with everyday tasks. To wrap up, short answer questions are all about precisions and strategies. We just go through session 2 skill development, so in which we focus on 3 points. Exams information about short answer questions, and we also learn some tips and strategies how to cope with this type of reading questions. And the third point, that is we have a chance to do some exercises, right? So now it's time for us to practice employing these tips and strategies into doing these following exercises in part 3, exam practice. So first of all, it's important to read the questions very carefully, and then we identify the keywords in the questions. This helps us scan for the correct part of the text. And finally, we write the short answer that are grammatically correct and stay within the 4-word limit. So now, just look at the questions, and we can see there are some keywords like what ways, bodies, and physical differ. Okay, and then we should locate the information in the text, and we will have the answer, which is shaped, heights, colors, and abilities, basing on the information below. All of us exist in bodies of different shapes, heights, colors, and physical abilities. So now move on to the second questions. Why do our bodies differ physically? So in the second questions, we have to find the reason why our bodies differ physically. So look at the text and we can locate the information in this short paragraph. The main reason for differences are genetic and the fact that people's body change as they age. However, a huge range of research indicates that there are social factors too. So the answer will be genetic, aging, social factors. So to answer the third questions, what types of jobs are poor people likely to have? So here we have some key words in the questions like types of jobs, poor people, and likely to have. So just look at the short paragraph below. Poorer people are more likely to eat unhealthy food, to smoke cigarettes, and to be employed in repetitive, physically difficult work, or the opposite, boring and inactive employments. So we will have the answers, which is physically difficult or inactive. So to answer the fourth questions, we have to find the aspect of poor people's living environment which are not good. So look at the short paragraph below. Moreover, their housing conditions and neighborhoods tend to be worse. All these factors impact upon the conditions of a person's health. The physical shapes of bodies are strongly influenced by social factors. So basing on the information that I have underlined from the text, we can see the answer will be housing conditions and neighborhoods. To answer the questions number 5, we have to find out what influences the groups of people value bodies. So now just look at the short paragraphs here. The cultures and medias of different societies promote very different valuations of body shapes. What is considered as attractive or ugly, normal or abnormal varies enormously. Currently, for example, in rich societies, the ideas of symbolism is highly valued. So, we can see the answer will be cultures and media. To answer the question number 7, which is, in the past, what part of the body could indicate that people were rich? We should focus on some keywords like past, part of the body, indicate, people, and rich. So look at the short paragraph below, and we can see there are two words which have the similar meanings, that is belly and stomach. So in your answer sheet, you can choose one of them. So now let's move on to questions number 8. According to sociologies, in what way should we think about the bodies? And the answer will be biologically and socially. Just look at the text below. Sociologists then are suggesting that we should not just view bodies and minds in biological terms, but also in social terms. So these two words, biological and social, are both adjectives, and we should change them into adverb and then write them in the answers. So now move on to the questions number 9. Which two physical factors contribute to whether people are obese or not? And here we have a short paragraph in which I just underline the key informations that we can use them to answer these questions. So the answer will be processed food and exercise. Let's look at the last questions. Question number 10. What does society say that being obese is? So that means we have to find the definitions of the obesity, right? So just look at the short paragraph below. However, it has also become a mental health issue and social problem as a result of people coming to define this particular body shape as wrong and unhealthy. So the answer will be wrong and unhealthy. So to sum up, this unit teaches us how the body is influenced by biology, lifestyle, and cultures. By doing this exercise, we have a chance to apply the tips and strategies we have mentioned before to find the answers. Hope you find this type of reading questions much easier to deal with after practicing this activity. So thank you very much and see you soon.